Okay, Israel. Hope everybody is doing Tawab today. I know we're back at the same topic. One is wives support your husband in the work again, but I think it's important that we finish this thing off strong. We're gonna get through the rest of the class that we didn't get a chance to finish these last 2 weeks, and I know the last 2 weeks may be kind of hard on certain concepts to swallow and accept it, but I want to make sure that we understand in the process of sisters and brothers trying to make these adjustments. This is the key thing to hold on to mentally. We go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 12.
First Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 12.
Yes, sir.
But when ye sin, so against the brethren.
I said first, Slaki. It's 2 Corinthians. That was my fault. My apologies. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 12.
2 Corinthians 8 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
Read. For if there be first a willing mind.
What's very important is that when you're in class, when you're reading scriptures, a lot of times the scriptures and the desire to change can be very overwhelming. The idea that I have to make all these changes or I'm going to hell can be very stressful, and an extra amount of pressure is applied on men and women when they're sitting back here getting these scriptures. But what helps keep things hopefully in proper perspective is what the Most High really wants from us is that willing mind. That willing mind, that part of you that says, I might not be perfect, but I'm going to give my all every single day to try to do this right and be a better brother, be a better wife, be a better sister. Am I going to be determined? Because the thing is this, a lot of times people listen to classes like we teach normally, and they might think the bar is raised too high, the expectations are too high, but the purpose of the classes that we teach are for exhortation. What is exhortation? It is to motivate us to be better than how we operate. Mm-hmm. We're not teaching classes like this to say if you're not perfect, then the Most High in Christ isn't going to accept you. But when you're in classes like this, it is very important to let your viewers and your students and the people in class know clearly that this is the expectation that the greatest examples of our people, this is what they follow. So if this is the greatest examples of our people, this is what they follow, then this is what we should be working towards to get to this point.
And we have templates as options. You have the bare minimalist template, which is what most Israel follows. That gets us a certain level of the truth. You have the hot and cold template that Israel follows, where we're mixed together, we're zealous here and there, up and down. You get a certain outcome from that. And then you have the template where you give everything you have and all your entire being. And you get a certain result. It's important that we go over the type of topics because people complain about their results. We wouldn't go this direction if people weren't complaining about the results.
Yep.
I don't like my life. I don't like this situation.
Or people will sit back here over the years and not think the truth works for them.
It doesn't work.
Or the knowledge doesn't work, or my experience in the truth. I didn't see these things come to fruition in my life.
Then what template did you choose and follow?
What type of development and commitment did you sit back here and give to pleasing the Heavenly Father? So the key is not to get discouraged about listening to Sarah and saying, damn, can I do what Sarah did? Can I sit back here and be that honorable of a wife? Man, if I can't do it like Sarah, I don't have a chance. That's the extremisms that we take when we're still running from our battle.
But people aren't being asked to go into that precise situation.
We're just trying to say this is what the greatest of our generations did. So this is what we should be striving for. Whether their class is about men, women, both, the entire nation. It's about time that we push each other and challenge one another in Christ to be the best we can in Christ. So read that verse from the top, 8 and 12, 2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians 8 and 12. For if there be first a willing mind, it is accepted according to that a man hath.
So what he says is, your willing mind is what the Most High is going to accept when you are producing effort to change. He's looking for a willing mind, not a perfect outcome. Listen, we're supposed to sit back and shoot and attain or shoot and strive for perfection over our lifetime. But until we get to the end, the Most High in Christ is looking for that willing mind. Read on. It is accepted.
It is accepted according to that a man hath.
Listen, the Most High is judging us based off what your capabilities are. And what is each brother and sister's maximum potential to produce to please the Heavenly Father. Even when you go through chapters like a person having 5 talents and 3 talents and 1 talent, he's sitting back here and judging that based off each person's several what? Abilities. Same thing with men and women. Are you attaining to being the best version of a wife? You are. Are you making the necessary adjustments to please your husband as best as you can?
And it's fair because people require the best from their mates.
God.
We can't be one-way people. You can't ask everybody to be the best and they got to be perfect for you, but you don't got to be perfect for nobody else.
God.
Let's not play that game.
And really, even when you're saying the word perfection, it's still what is the best level of effort I could bring to the table.
Produce.
And if a person is looking at things the right way, they will appreciate your best versus judging you and comparing to you what another person's best is.
Doesn't make sense.
That what people do it all the time in arguments. Well, this person over here does it this way. But I'm not trying to go there. This is going to be a positive class. We're going to sit back and keep the energy up because we've been going really hard the rest of the time. I want to kind of keep it right, clean, and positive and optimistic. Because when people leave class today, I want people to really feel and believe that they can be better wives. They can, their marriages, there is hope in the marriage. There is hope in the union of marriage.
If there's willingness.
And that's why we're starting off class about there's got to be a willingness to fight.
Yeah.
There's got to be a willingness to be the best you can and work on what's inside of you. That's the key. So let's continue.
It is accepted according to that a man hath, and not according to that he hath not.
And that's the point. It's not about what you don't have that you're being justified on or you're being judged on. It's about, are you doing the best with the tools that the Lord has blessed you with? Are you maximizing your resources, your mind, your talents, your capabilities to please your husband to the best of your capability? And if so, then you'll be accepted. If you are sitting back here with a willing mind, maximizing what the Lord has blessed you with. So, with that being the case, let's continue in the class. Let's go to Ecclesiastes and the Apocrypha, chapter 26, verse 14. Because a lot of times you'll sit back and in counsel, people say, well, I can't do this. This is too much. Why do you say it's too much? All the Lord is saying is you got to be the best you can be. Why are you saying that's too hard? You can be the best you can be. You just don't want to be the best you can be.
That's why it's too hard.
You want to operate on a low frequency, but get maximum frequency blessings. And that's not how life rolls. That's not how life is. Okay. Ecclesiastes 26 and 14. So what we've gone over so far is about serving your husband. It's about going through the certain afflictions that might come between you and your husband and your family, and learning how to take that cheerfully and be positive and still respect your husband. Today we're going to focus a lot on more virtues of a good woman and how you're supposed to carry yourself communication-wise to eliminate a lot of these pitfalls. Okay? Because a lot of times it's brought out in counsel, well, if I can't communicate to you, who can I communicate to? Has that not been brought out in counsel?
Yeah.
And that's a very true statement. But what's not being explained and quantified in that explanation is how your communication is. Just because you're comfortable with your husband doesn't give you the right to talk how you feel like talking to him.
What do you mean?
Just because there is a level, you know what I mean by that. You were trying to draw it out of me. Pray tell me more about this statement, sir. Good sir, kind sir.
I'm talking spinning on.
You like that? Now, what we're saying is, listen, just because you're frustrated doesn't mean you have the right to vent how you want to vent. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to explain it. Read on.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 14 reads, "A silent and a loving woman is a gift of the Lord."
Listen, it is a gift. It's a godsend for a woman to be silent and loving. First of all, does it mean that the Most High is saying that it's a blessing to have a mute wife? That she is unable to communicate words out of her mouth? He's like, thank the Lord, this woman is not speaking words. And we're operating in sign language. Is that what the Most High is saying? Now, people might joke and might say, hell yeah, I wish it was that way. But that's not what the Most High is saying. Why would the writer or the prophet say a silent and loving woman?
Well, based on the contrast you're bringing out, is the woman that chooses to humble herself enough to be more of a listener and less talkative.
And she knows how to interact with her husband.
No, she doesn't want to argue.
She understands what is the frequency with the man that the Most High gave me to where he's like, you got to stop talking now. Everybody knows when your husband gives you a look like, okay, stop. This is enough. You rather sit back here and let me explain what's going on. Or there's times when he doesn't want to go back and forth with you. So when he doesn't want to go back and forth with you, what are you supposed to do?
Drop it.
That's when the silence kicks in. When she feels the need to speak her 2 cents and speak when she wants to get something out. And then it's a twofold thing because there has to be silence and love behind it. Because some people know how to be quiet and then coldness comes behind it.
Silent and destructive woman.
It's
a gift from the Lord.
What's that?
Silent and destructive woman.
Well, a silent and hateful.
Yes, that's a better term.
Because that's the other side.
Yeah.
There has to be silence and still love.
Yeah.
And that combination doesn't happen a lot. It's either talking and pushing, enforcing a conversation to continue, forcing the interaction to go until you're satisfied, or it's complete silence and coldness in the house. Those are both wrong. But a wife has to understand and learn how to read the room and learn that there is a time and place to bring up your issue. There is a time and place to bring up your complaint. And just because you feel like bringing up your complaint doesn't mean it's the right time to bring up your complaint. How do we know that? Because we're in the same boat dealing with brothers, dealing with rank. You see how it still goes back to men having to be subject to these same things as women are?
So are you?
There might be an issue that you got to bring up to your elder. And he's sitting back here and focus on something else. You're going to sit back and force your way to communicate to him what's on your mind just because you want to say it? You got to shut your mouth, stay in order, and wait for the appropriate time to express what you want. Right or wrong? Yes, my woman.
Or write it down.
But it's still right now. It's still waiting. I'm a write. You don't want to do this. You ain't gonna write out and put it in his face. Here, read this now. Now. I didn't say anything, but read it now. That's still out the spirit. You should like put all this tape around it and tape it. You're gonna read this.
I appreciate it.
Yes. It's
with all due respect. Can you read right now?
Yeah, big letters right in the driver's window at. It's right there in the mirror. Are you doing? Damn, I can't see what's going on here. So that's off too. But we have to learn there is a time and place to bring out what's going on. But what does that also take?
Self-control.
Self-control. That is the major thing. I have to be in control enough to say, okay, this isn't the appropriate time. And I have to, well, this is the answer going to be explained in this next verse we pull. But read it from the top, verse 14.
Come, Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 14 reads.
Time's out here.
Hold on. There it is. You almost took it out.
That's why it works. Let it be.
Diablo de el computer act. Stupid act. I know that was said wrong. That was horribly explained. But that's what it is. Anyway, let's read that again.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 14 reads.
I don't know.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
What it's letting you know is the only way a wife or anybody can learn when's the right time to communicate, when's the time not to push. This man needs time. Maybe he might need a few more days before I even bring this up to him. I need to learn not to be pushy. In order to even get in that spirit, you have to be a mind well instructed. Mm-hmm. But what does that mean? You have to have the capability to read the Bible for yourself. So whatever's going on in you doesn't possess you like a zombie to where you got to sit back and spew out whatever you want to say when you want to say it. That's why you study. That's why you read. That's why we all read and study. And the verse is going to explain this to this point. Hold this and go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11. And it's going to tie right into this. There's so many in that.
1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11.
In a second, after this, yes, it'll go contrary to it. Read that.
God, and that ye study to be quiet.
Why do you study?
To be quiet.
You learn how to study. It's in there. You learn how to study so you know how to control your communication. How you control your mouth, control your emotions. This is one of the reasons why you study. Because if you're frustrated and your husband isn't available, then why aren't you studying the scriptures? So you can get some clarity on your situation, or at least study enough to lock in to where it will pacify you until you have the opportunity to counsel with your husband. This is a major part of studying. You study so you can learn how to control yourself until you can meet your husband and deal with your husband on the issues that are affecting you. Every man and every woman has a responsibility to be in the book consistently enough to be able to at least sustain themselves and their spirit for a short period of time.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense that whatever you got going on in your life has to be spoken on that night, or the house is going to get destroyed, or there's going to be a knockdown, drag-out argument at the house. It shouldn't even be that way. That means how come you're not in the book? How many classes we got online? I think today this is a 777 out. Today's a 777 class out. There's a lot of classes out. There's a lot of classes to choose from, and they are categorized based upon what you got going on in your life. There is no reason why you can't pop on a film and watch the class that's dealing with your issue. The only reason you won't, and you're going to give your husband hell, is because you don't want to read the Bible. And the Bible isn't that important to you. And then when the Bible isn't that important to you, then the real question is, why are you in a biblical marriage? Why are you in a marriage that's supposed to be based upon the Bible if the Bible is never gone to deal with problems?
You got a good man because you want a good man.
Well, the question
and
is
now
this,
you got a good man.
do you have a good
and
man?
You don't want a good man.
The question is, do you have a good man? The only reason you can see good in your man is because you agree with the life he lives. Maybe you don't have a good man because you're not in the Bible and he's about the Bible. Maybe that's the issue. Right?
Okay.
Why wouldn't a woman who was with her husband, who was serving the Most High, still view that person as a bad guy? Because she doesn't want a guy that's about the Bible. She wants the street guy.
Yeah.
That's why she can't see the good in a man that's serving the Most High. She doesn't want a Bible guy. She thinks she wants a Bible guy, but her actions show she doesn't want a biblical person. It's that simple.
But if she gets the street guy,
I don't want that either.
she's not happy either.
That's the problem with most people when they choose their mates. They want both. You gotta have 50 tattoos and have a Christian cross
Only
to his
Jesus
chest.
side.
You gotta have a Christian cross and Thug Life when it's tatted on his chest out. Then it's okay. He smoke a little weed when he go to church on Sundays. Like, what the hell you want?
That's R. Kelly, huh?
Well, that's a lot of people. A lot of bad
All
guys.
songs went back to church.
Which one do you want? You want the thug, or you want a person that's by serving the Most High?
Oh.
Once you make a choice about what you want in your life, everything else makes more sense. It's that simple. Okay. Read that Thessalonians verse from the top again.
God, 1 Thessalonians 4:1. And that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business.
Well, that's the thing. You study to have a little bit of spiritual independence so you're not so clingy with a husband that needs time to get himself together before he deals with you. That's why you study. To be able to sustain yourself for enough time until he can get to all the problems he's got in his life and you and the camp. You have to understand, the camp and the work still comes first.
Yeah.
So then after the camp and the work comes first, then he will have time for you. But in between time, while he's dealing with camp stuff and the zones, you might have to wait a couple days. But then what are you doing while you're waiting a couple days? Packing your bags? Is that what you're doing? Or are you reading the Bible? Or at the very least, what 1 Peter 3 says is being won by the conversation of the what?
Wow.
At least can you do that until you find it in your heart to read a Bible verse? There we go, I'm getting sarcastic. Do you get the point? Read that again, 1 Thessalonians 4:11.
God, and that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your hands.
With your own hands.
Your own hands.
So, the more you study, the more you can be self-sustaining and productive again. How many times have you had things going on in your life that got you so negative, everything in your world stopped until you had this conversation? When that happens, that means you're way out of pocket. Because you haven't studied enough, and you can't just study in crisis either. That's people think you can study in crisis and you're good. You have to study in crisis, out of crisis, when it's sunny out, when it's raining. If you make it a habit of reading the scriptures, then you can learn to study to be quiet, so you can be able to do your own work and wait your turn until the Most High will bring back to you what you need to get dealt with on. Read on.
God, and to work with your own hands as we command you, that ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing.
That's the point. If you're studying, if you really take the scriptures to heart, you'll never lack anything. You'll have enough to sustain yourself until you have the opportunity to come to talk to your husband about whatever issues there are in the house. This is a very important key. Once again, why are we going here? This allows a woman to avoid the arguments and the advanced fighting that make things harder to come back together. How many times you're arguing with your husband and it takes a couple days to a week just to get back to flowing and operating like normal again?
Yeah.
Why sit back here and go through this roller coaster of I'm ignoring this person's vexing me? The more we can get that out of the picture, now we can start working on building the relationship even faster. But in order to build the relationship faster, it takes maturity on both sides. And because today's class is about women, we're going to focus on the women and their desire to sit back here and be silent and loving. Because if you're silent and loving, even though you have something to say, This is how the Most High stays on your side. This is how the Most High protects you. This is how the Most High looks after your well-being, because you've learned how to be silent and wait until the opportunity comes for you to get dealt with. That is so important to be conscious of as a wife. Learn silence, and in silence, maintain a positive, pure temperament to your husband until he's ready to deal with you. Now, with that, we're going to do this. We're going to jump 2 Timothy 2 and 15.
Second Timothy, chapter 2, verse 15.
Yep.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15.
Yep.
Study to show thyself approved
Read on.
unto the Most High.
Listen, you're supposed to study to show yourself approved to the Most High and your husband. But how does a woman study to show herself approved to the Most High? She can show the Most High that the studying is working based on her ability to wait. How long, as a sister and as a wife, can you sustain in your marriage being silent and loving? That's a real question. That's also how you can determine if you're growing or not. How long can you sustain being silent and loving at the same time? Is it a week before the arguments start? Is it a week or two before the complaints kick in? How long does it take before the outlook starts to go south and you got something to say? Because scripturally, the Bible is saying when a woman is silent and loving, that is the template of how a wife's supposed to be. Not, I'm just not saying anything in the house, but talking and communicating at the appropriate level that satisfies who? Every husband's different, so you can't quantify how much talking is too much in each household. Can you?
No.
All you can say is that is your husband satisfied with your talking? Is he cool? In his opinion, do you know when to shut it down?
What you can quantify is if the talking I'm doing, is it offensive or not? Because there's talking to get clarity. There's talking to get understanding of a situation.
And there's talking to tear shit down.
Exactly.
But once again, that's all in the eye of who? The husband.
Yeah.
It's all based upon his tolerance level. So you still have to adjust to what he wants and how he wants the communication and how he wants the back and forth to be. Well, let's continue. I got some more. Read your verse. You're good. Read it.
Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 5 through 7. Or through 8, actually.
Ah, there you go.
It's all on the same. So. Now, I want another.
More the verses. More lines. Ecclesiastes 20 verse 5 through 8.
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 5.
Because it ties back into why we study in the first place, why women should study and why men are required to study. Because a lot of it is due to, or the evaluation.
We say the same thing with men too. You're babbling too damn much. It's counsel 7 hours.
Exactly.
And we've gotten nowhere.
Exactly.
How many times we've been through that in the last 3 months?
It's done.
It happens with men too.
Yeah.
And why is babbling going on? Because I just want to say how mad I am. And I want everybody to suffer for these hours to hear how pissed off I am. But right or wrong.
Yeah.
So we're sitting back here like, man, the weekend is over. You know what I have waiting for me? Monday morning.
Yep.
That's what I have waiting for me. And nothing got accomplished.
Nope. No clarity.
Right? No clarity, no answers, because sometimes spirits are more focused on getting out what's in their head versus getting understanding with what's going on in their life.
Yeah.
That's also why silence is so important.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn nothing just spewing off at the mouth, telling people how real you are and how angry you are. That's true too. People are keeping it real all the damn time in council line. They keep it real too much.
Okay.
What was you going to say, man?
Read that real quick. Somebody give me Babel, the second point.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 5. It says, "There's one that keepeth silence, and is found wise, and another by much babbling becometh hateful.
So what he's saying is, you have two individuals in select circumstances. One chooses to be silent and take a check, listen to the situation, listen to the counsel, and it's considered wise because they didn't give their opinion.
And when a person is considered wise because they know when to keep their mouth shut, then you're going to get the answer you're looking for very soon after that.
Exactly.
Have you ever sat back here and prayed on things and studied things, and then within a day or two, the Most High gives you the answer to the question, but in an indirect way?
Yep. All the
A
time.
lot of times you don't even have to go into an argument with your husband. The Spirit's going to give you the answer through studying, through talking and conversing with people.
Come.
This is even with us. A lot of times we counsel with brothers before we deal with the culprit.
Come.
Why is that important? Think about that. Even us as counselors talk and communicate about the issue with different brothers before we engage the person that is doing the issues.
It'll play itself out.
It's not about playing itself out.
Clarity.
It's about clarity. It's about whatever frustration might be on me, I'm getting it off of me talking to the people around me before I address the person that has the issue.
Yeah.
That is so important. You don't want to sit back here and be angry and engage in a counsel when you're angry. Nothing good comes from that.
Yeah.
Only thing that comes out is negative words, destructive conversations, and greater grudges after the fact. But continue.
I like you said that because what you're saying is conversation has to be well meditated on.
Come.
You can't just be saying whatever flies through your head. We learn that as children. Don't just speak whatever that flies through your head. Control your thoughts.
A lot of us don't learn that.
A lot of us have not learned that. A lot of us have. But read that in Babel because it goes right to that point. Babel, point 2.
Babel, 1828, Webster's Dictionary, point number 2. It says, to talk idly or irrationally, to talk thoughtlessly.
So to babble, I'm not thinking about the impact of what I'm saying. I'm just thinking about how it relieves the stress or frustration that I'm currently feeling. For instance, when you look at there's certain sciences, right, where it says you gotta yell when you're working out, or when you're doing a physical activity. There's got to be some type of outburst, whether it's yelling or it's some type of long expiration or out breath. It's to get the stress that's internal in your body out your body, right? What people do is when they have tension build up, stress, frustration, anger, they use their verbiage, they use offenses to get it out. What he's saying is, I can't just say whatever is flying in my head because the impact I'm about to have on this person might be longer lasting than I might have thought. Because there's certain words, there's certain secrets, there's certain things you say that might ruin the relationship forever. That will stick with that person for a long time. Because people have a tendency to hold on to the negative more than the positive. Don't forget the thousands of good things you said about them and the thousands of compliments you've given them in your life. Let us remember that one offense you gave them, and they'll carry that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And you look back, and they're like, man, I know you used to hold on to that. But that was the one thing that stuck with them. Because that hit their pride, that hit their insecurities and all. So read that in verse 6 now.
Right. Ecclesiastes 20, verse 6. Some men hold up his tongue because he had not to answer.
So what he's showing is there's different reasons why I choose to hold my tongue. The first reason is, you know what? It's not the right time. It'd be better for me to just listen, just because it's a wiser option. It's a more prudent option. The second reason is, I don't have an answer. I don't have a proper answer to give you in response to whatever statement or aggravation or spirit you're giving out to me. So I'd rather just not say anything at all to avoid the potential conflict or potential frustration that's going to happen.
And real quick, don't you see how much work it takes to make sure communication and the connection stays pure?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a lot of thinking about what you're going to say and how it's going to affect somebody. But do we do that?
No.
Do we do that amongst just people that we love, let alone regular people? Do we take the time to think about the effect of what we're going to say before we say it? That takes love and that takes respect. And this is part of what that silent and loving woman is supposed to do. You have to love your husband enough to choose the words wisely about what you're trying to let him know, how he's affecting you, whether good or bad.
And it's all a reflection of how much the scriptures are actually penetrating your mind.
How much you study?
Because Ecclesiastes 2:14 says the wise man's eyes are in his head. What that means is I'm analyzing everything. I'm not just analyzing what you're saying to me. I'm analyzing how I'm interpreting it. I'm analyzing how it's making me feel. So if I know what you're telling me right now is ticking me off and it's getting under my skin, I got to be that much more careful on how I respond, because now Christ is judging my response.
And once again, like we said in the beginning of class, the Most High is looking at our willingness.
Yeah.
Our willingness to make adjustments. So, if a husband is looking at a situation like this wisely, you might see your wife begin to raise up and then remember classes like this and then backtrack.
Yeah.
That's how you know she's trying.
Yeah.
And you got to be conscious of the fact that when she's trying, she might not be perfect in her listening. She might not be perfect in her responses, but if you study her enough, you'll see, okay, this person is making a conscious effort to adjust how she's rolling on me. So let me make sure I'm conscious of that and not respond to her like I'm not aware that she's trying to make adjustments for me. That's something for us to be also aware of.
Yeah.
When a person is trying to make adjustments and they're not perfect at the adjustments yet.
Yeah.
But let's continue. We get one verse. You
Yeah, keep reading.
Let's get through it.
Yeah. Ecclesiastes 20, verse 6. Some men hold up his tongue because he have not to answer.
Mm-hmm.
And some keep silent, knowing it's time.
Because there's a time to bring out a situation to where it is accepted smoother. It's accepted better. And that's a trick that it takes when you study somebody the right way. When is the right time to bring this up to this person?
Yeah.
Every time ain't the right time. That's a skill that you learn if your number one intention is to consider your husband and not what you want. Continue.
If he's your king, right?
Listen, I just want to say, you're doing your job. Not many people looking at him as king.
No, but I'm saying
that's not happening.
That statement is thrown out there sometimes. You're my king.
Those words are always brought out. That don't mean that's the actual application.
But if that's the case, when you deal with the king, you deal with them at certain times. You don't deal with them after.
When you hear that king malarkey, you know that's cat eye. my king, sire, like whatever. Man. You know that's cat eye. What kind of? I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's continue.
Verse 7. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity.
And that's what makes him wise. That's the skill. I'm looking for the opportunity to where now I can bring this information up to have the most impact.
Yep.
And not blow my circumstance up out of frustration and lack of patience.
Yep.
Read on.
A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity. But a babbler who talks thoughtlessly. Read on.
And a fool.
Which means they're one and the same. They're one and the same.
If you're not thinking about what you're going to say, you just say what's on the top of your head, you're a fool. Read on.
But a babbler and a fool.
At least I'm real, though. That's bad real, though. That's bad real. But keep going out.
But a babbler and a fool will regard no time.
That's it.
So, let that go. And let's go now to Philippians chapter 2, verse 14 and 15. Yeah. Philippians chapter 2, verse 14 and 15.
Come. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 14. Do all things without murmurings and disputing.
And this is in the same vein as how to properly communicate. If a person is murmuring and disputing, they're unthankful, they're ungrateful, they're unappreciative about the good that's in front of them. And those conversations, more times than not, become very explosive, very argumentative. And dare say, depending on the people, they can get violent. We don't advocate violence. But there's too many times we've gotten reports about husbands and wives communicating. The communication is poor. It gets toxic. It gets negative and condescending. Then there's cops being involved. Yeah. Then there's police. Then the police getting involved. Then brothers is getting put in bracelets. You know what that is. They're getting put in bracelets and they going to jail for at least a month. And that's the truth. And listen, and we always teach men that they shouldn't have to sit back here and put hands on their women. And it's better that they leave versus putting hands on their women. But I want to read this next verse. Why Paul is explaining to do all things without murmurings and disputings. Read on.
Verse 15. That ye may be blameless and harmless.
Read on.
The sons of the Most High.
This is the whole point. The man is wrong for putting hands on you, but you're full of blame. You're not blameless. What he's showing you is in this communication between husbands and wives. Have we trained ourselves to think about how we instigated these arguments? Whenever I hear, and I'm in couples counsel, all I hear about is what this man did. And he said this to me, and he spoke this way to me, and how dare he speak this way to me? He's just so disrespectful. But I never hear from the person who got disrespected how disrespectful they were. I never hear the other person say what they said to rile up the guy to be disrespectful. We're going to sit back here every single time and check the man for his conduct. There's no doubt about that. We will sit back here and counsel brothers for their emotional immaturity, them being effeminate, because we're not supposed to roll that way anyway around our women. But how come sisters don't take the time to say, man, I'm to blame too. How I'm talking to him, I'm disrespecting him, that I'm shocked that he responds in a negative way. I am a lady. Why did you do this to me? I'm a lady. Or were you communicating like a lady? Were you respectful like a lady? Were you quiet and loving and silent like a lady? No. So you're not silent like a lady, which means you're a what? You roll like a what? A dude. So when a dude responds to you like he responds to a dude that disrespects him, now you're upset and you're looking at this one-sided. He's saying that disputing and that complaining and that constant babbling holds you just as blameless as the husband that is out of order for being emotionally responsive to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It goes both ways. This is why in all conflict resolution, in dealing with any issues between husbands and wives, the husband needs to focus on his conduct and the wife needs to focus on her conduct before we get to the next level. We can always sit back here and say, yeah, brother, you got to fix this, and sis, you got to fix this. But when is the individual going to look at what they got to fix in themselves to be blameless in these conflicts? If everybody took the time to look at how full of blame they are in the first place for being in a situation like this, half of these problems will be resolved like this. But nobody wants to take accountability for how messed up they are and how negative they are and that they deserve harsh responses at times. Read it from the top, verse 15.
Second Philippians
2.
Chapter 2, verse 15. That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of the Most High, without rebuke.
What does it mean without rebuke? Everybody that's Israel, dealing amongst Israel, has to learn how not to react to somebody else's issues. Without rebuke, that means I have to be able to absorb whatever mistakes you do without me losing control of myself. Now, we understand that the husband is the weaker vessel. The wife is a weaker vessel. We get that. So men have to be held to a higher accountability for how he reacts to his wife. But that doesn't change the fact that a wife has to learn to properly communicate and not take what her husband says personally either. It goes both ways. So it says if you're going to be blameless, you have to be without rebuke, without retaliation. And how many times in arguments it's nothing but one retaliation after another retaliation. One verbal retaliation after another verbal retaliation. If this is about growth and being blameless, there shouldn't be a bunch of rebuke amongst anybody. Read on.
Without rebuke in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation.
That makes it more difficult to learn how to not rebuke and respond negatively to a nation of people who are negative. And if we learn how not to react negatively to negative people that surround us everywhere around us, then The Most High looks at us as lights that shine amongst the world, like this next line says. Read on.
Says, among whom ye shall shine, among whom ye shine as lights in the world.
That's the point. You're going to shine as lights in the world when you learn not to react to the toxic people around you. We learn how to react not even to your husband's toxicity or perceived toxicity. Just something to think about. Let that go. And go to Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 22. Wisdom of Solomon 2, verse 22.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 22 reads. Ready?
Yep.
Come. As for the mysteries of the Most High, they knew them not, neither hope they for the wages of righteousness.
So this is somewhat the wicked person on earth didn't care about the wages or the benefit of living right. Read on.
Come. Nor discern a reward for blameless souls.
The reward comes to the blameless person. You're never justified to react negatively because somebody you think is negative to you. That doesn't give you a reward. He said the reward comes to the blameless soul. But the blameless soul does what? Is without rebuke. The blameless soul is without rebuke. You don't have the right to retaliate negatively to nobody, especially your husband. You're still supposed to be silent and loving. So that silent and loving verse comes into play even the more in the middle of a disagreement. You think there's an issue with being silent and loving when you're happy to see him? You're supposed to be silent and loving in the midst of disagreements. That's when the Most High said there is a reward for a blameless soul. The reward comes when you don't retaliate and respond negatively the way you want to. And you learn to control your tongue, control your actions, get in the book, and maintain your discipline and wait until you can talk to your husband at a proper time when something productive can come out of it. Now that takes work. But the scriptures are the scriptures. Are we here to sit back here and fight to be blameless, or we're going to fight to be full of blame and think we're justified to respond negatively like beasts? We're never justified to do that, men or women. Let that go, and then go to Psalms 102 and 14.
Circles, man.
This is fucking circles, man.
Never ready.
Oh, circles, man. What's going on, man? Psalms 102 and verse 14.
Time. Psalms chapter 102, verse 14. For the servants take pleasure in their stuff.
No, read it again.
Psalms chapter 102, verse 14. For the servants take pleasure in her stones, and favor the dust thereof.
He's telling you what a good servant, how they're supposed to think. A good servant of the Lord, whether it's how we're supposed to look at the Heavenly Father, or how a wife is supposed to look at her husband who she is supposed to serve. She is supposed to she or he, being in that position of a servant, has to take pleasure in her stones. What does that mean? The burdens that she has to take on in being the wife to this brother. There's pros and cons to every marriage. There's pros and cons to every union. And a good servant learns how to appreciate the pros and accept the cons. Because if you accept the stones that come with this marriage, then you know what? You won't start arguing as much. You might have a husband who's forgetful. So what do you got to keep doing? Saying the same thing over and over again. You know what? And you can't get mad and say, oh, you don't care about me because you keep forgetting what I tell you. Isn't that a stone? Isn't that a burden? He's forgetful. I got to cover that. He's a little messy. I got to cover that. That's a stone I got to take. He might want this, this, and that. That's a stone that I have to own up to and endure that and take pleasure in that stone. Because all these little inconveniences that I have to go through, this justifies me getting to the kingdom. No different than the burdens we have to sit back here and go. Didn't Christ say we got to carry our cross and follow him? We got to carry our burden and follow Christ. And not complain about the burden. Not complain about our stones. Because if we're complaining about our burden and stones, we ain't making the kingdom. Because we're blameless. Same thing with a wife. There might be things that your wife can't do or isn't doing, your husband isn't doing. You have to sit back here and say, that's the burden I'm going to take on. That's the stone I'm going to put on my back. And that's part of my glory for the Most High in Christ. Read that verse again.
God, Psalms 102 and 14. For thy servants take pleasure in her stone.
Con, the stones that come from that union. Read on.
And favor the dust thereof.
Because at least if the dust means you're at a low level, a low degree. If you're going to be a good servant, if you're going to be a great servant, you have to be okay with being put last. That's what the dust looks like. The dust looks like, hey, I'm okay with being put last. But isn't that what we have to experience as men? What we have to give up to get closer to the Most High in Christ? As men, we have to be comfortable in the dust. Because that's what it takes. The humiliation, the humbling, the breaking it takes for us to get close to Christ. So why is it okay that we have to be humbled and whatever we might want and desire has to get put to the back burner to please the Heavenly Father, and that's not the same thing for the wife? Because why are the majority of the arguments happening anyway? I want to be first.
I didn't ask for this.
Or I want to be higher up in the damn hierarchy of focus. That's why a lot of the arguments are what they are.
Yeah.
But people haven't accepted, we all haven't accepted that we are a nation of what? Servants. That's what Leviticus 25 and 55 said. If as a nation we accepted that we were servants, we'd all be on top. But we don't want to be a servant. We want to be on top. This is why Jake niggas is wearing togas, right? And compromising our clothing and our compromise and who we were and our culture, because we want to get on top. We want to be somebody.
By any means.
It's the same thing in America. We give up who we are, our culture, to make it big. We stop making Most High in Christ a focus so we can get rich. Same concept. Men don't want to be brought low and stay low and accept being brought to a lower state. We've been going over these Sabbath classes. What's been the biggest complaint? The world's passing us by. Everybody's evolving but us. Everybody's growing and technologically growing. They're having stadiums and they're living their life. They're excelling. There's an upper class and we're on the bottom of the totem pole. I don't want to live this way no more. It was the acceptance that we didn't want to be brought low. Because we were going to be brought low in the sight of the world, but glorified in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. Because the funny thing is this, whether it was Ptolemy Philopator when he saw us, you know why he honored us? I don't know how these guys do it. I don't know how these guys, all damn day long, is sacrifice animals and pray to God out. And that's all they do. Give these men all the sheep they need. Because I salute y'all. I'm going to go out in these streets. I'm going to do me. I'm going to get this gold. We go on to war. Listen, I'm dealing with dudes, women. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I commend you. Yeah. That you live a life like you're a nation of monks. I respect that. I respect the fact you're a nation of monks, and I will support that however I got to. Lower their taxes. This is what they were thinking. But that's what made us special. What made us special?
Our discipline.
It was our piety and our discipline and our acceptance of a base, lower life. A perceived base and lower life. Because their values were about ornaments and clothing and look. Where our ornaments were about what? Getting close to the Heavenly Father. This is what we try to convince men every day to see that that's what it's about. Every day we do that. To find pride in putting yourself last for the brothers, putting yourself last for the nation. But that same concentration, sisters don't take that and embrace that in their lives as wives. Sisters don't embrace the fact that you come last. And what you want, a lot of times you're not going to get it. And the reward of you putting what you want last comes down the line later in the form of appreciation, respect, and love.
Honor too.
That's from honored by the Most High, but you get honored and respected by your husband. That's the reward. Isn't that what you want? Maybe not. What's the reward for us? A lot of times you read scriptures about, yeah, we've given everything up. What are we going to get now in this life? He said 100-fold with persecutions. What does that mean? To get 100-fold of blessings with persecutions. Listen, what it means is you really don't get a chance to enjoy the blessings you get. Because you're busting your tail trying to keep it. And there's no time to really enjoy the shiny new toy you got at the house. Right? But you got it, right? But we want our cake and what? And that's not what you're not going to get. Just to want a good husband, now you got it. But you got this good husband with what? With persecutions. That's the catch. The catch is you get the husband with persecutions. You don't get to see him. You get him, but you don't get to see him. You get him, but you don't get to spend a lot of time with him. You get him, but you got to put everybody else first or last, or everybody gets time with him than you. Half the time, you're going to be sitting back here. The man's going to be at the house on the phone with brothers, counseling with brothers. You don't even get him at the house, but you got him. But you see the thinking and what the meaning of life really is? Favoring the dust. Favoring that what I want is going to be last. This isn't a fancy, popular statement, but the quicker we can learn this, the quicker we can enjoy the good moments and enjoy the blessings and enjoy the time that you have. It's no different with serving the Most High. The earlier we realize that we are a living what?
Sacrifice.
Living sacrifice, favoring the dust. What's the difference? Tomato, tomato. The quicker we learn that our life, we find happiness by putting everybody else last and we get the little crumbs lay at last. Now we can sit back and enjoy our families and the little time we do get greater because we know we don't get it a lot. If we can learn to change our thinking this way, there'd be less arguments, complaints, fighting, anger. But that's an entire mentality change that we all have to do, or we're going to keep going through these cycles of life, not getting what we want, being disappointed. One disappointment after another disappointment. One disappointment after another disappointment. That's what life is. Because there's not an acceptance about the condition and about the priority and how the priorities never can change if you're going to stay tight with Christ. Let that go. I'm on the back page. Let's go to Luke chapter 17, verse 7 through 10. And this is the mindset. Yep. Mm-hmm. Luke chapter 17, verse 7 through 10. This is the mindset. A lot of times we go over these scriptures for men, but it's for women too. Luke 17, verse 7 through 10. I hope we get to Proverbs 31. We're only at 9 o'clock. Yeah, read that, sir.
Luke chapter 17, verse 7.
Yep.
But which of you, having a servant plowing or feeding cattle, will say unto him by and by, when he has come from the field, go and sit down to meat?
How many people that has a servant who's feeding the cattle, and their job is to feed the cattle and do their job on the farm, how many times do you tell your servant to come down and have dinner before you? Read on.
Verse 8. And will not rather say unto him, make ready wherewith I may sup, and gird thyself, and serve me, till I have eaten and drunken, and afterward thou shalt eat and drink.
He says that's how a servant has to operate. A servant has to do their due diligence out in the field and do their due diligence at home. Then they get their time to eat. He said a good servant works the field, comes home, gets showered, gets dressed, and sits back here and makes and prepares the master's meal and makes sure he's completely good. Then he sits, and then after he's eaten and drank, he says, eat and drink. That drinking, that might be another hour and a half of drinking wine. And this guy's gonna just drink one beer. No. After I ate and completely drank, then you can go get your meal. This is how a servant is supposed to be. After the man is eating and drinking, it's 10 o'clock at night. Then you get yours. This is the thought of how a servant's supposed to operate. This is how we have to operate. We got to do our job for the Most High, make sure He's first in our life, and then after all the work of the Most High is done, brothers, paperwork, camp responsibilities, then you can go home and hope that you are given the same respect that you give God. This is why we've been talking for the last few weeks. If the man ain't committing himself to this kind of commitment, you're asking a lot. Because you're asking somebody to do something that you don't do. Still goes back to that. I don't have any shame in saying this is how a sister's supposed to be, because I know what I do every day for the Most High. I can't do what I want to do until the body is covered and the body is taken care of. Then I can sit back and exhale. If that's how I have to be, then that's how the wife has to be when the husband gets home. Are all his needs met before you do what you got to do? This isn't me adding to the scriptures or adding to the point. He's explaining in Luke 17, verse 7 and 8. This is what all servants do. Whoever they are responsible for gets taken care of after they do their regular job. Their job is taken care of. Then the specific needs of the master gets taken care of. Then they can do their time. They do what they want to do. Or they can get what they need to get got. It was no different than Christ. Remember when Christ was sitting back here and healing and counseling? He didn't get his personal time till everybody was what? Sleep. Mm-hmm. Everybody was asleep. Then Christ had his time. And this ties into Proverbs 31. Yeah. This is why the wife is the last person to go to sleep and the first person up. Because that's the time where she gets her time in. A great wife makes her entire day based upon doing what it takes to take care of the family and her husband. And then afterwards, she gets time to do what she got to do. That's a good servant. Read on.
Verse 9. Doth he thank that servant because he did the things that were commanded him?
Listen, does that master sit back here and thank the servant for working his job or her job and then coming home and making sure the master is still priority? What does the verse say? Read on.
I trow not.
Trow means think. I think not. You're not going to, listen, the problem is we want pats on the back whenever we do what we're supposed to do, the bare minimum. We're doing the bare minimum and want thanks and kudos and the ultimate respect. We haven't accepted that our life is based on service, because we are servants. What does verse 10 say? Read on.
Verse 10. So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you.
This is Christ in red letters explaining this story. When I have you do all the things you're supposed to serve me, when I make you a servant and you got to serve me, and I'm the priority in the day and in the night, don't expect me to sit back here and tell you every 5 minutes you're doing a great job. I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you taught class today and you counseled a couple times a day. That's the least you can do. Read on.
When ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants.
This is how you're supposed to respond in consciousness to Christ. We're unprofitable. Read on.
We have done that which was our duty to do.
So if I do my job every day for the Most High in Christ, with the consciousness that I'm supposed to do this, then I'm not walking around here looking for a blessing and looking for acknowledgement and looking for a pat on the back by God every 5 minutes, every year that I've served the Most High. You know how many times I heard, man, I busted my tail so much of the Most High, the least I deserve is a vote.
At least.
At least I deserve is a that. At least I deserve is a this or that or this or that. I hear that from men all the time.
What about me?
What about me? I've committed so much to the Lord. You're supposed to commit so much to the Lord. Why are you sitting back here asking, what am I going to get out the deal once your palms greased?
No one cares about me?
No, because this is what you're supposed to do. You got some sins to work off, buddy. You have some corruption to work off.
Nobody says that.
You have wickedness to work off, D. Oh, you got 15 years of negative to work off, and you want a baby Snickers out every time you do some good work, son?
Baby Snickers.
That's a little snacky.
It's like fun
I've done some good. That's fun. That's why I said it's the baby size. So on this side, I did good. I was righteous. I didn't give no attitudes today. I was good. I wasn't disrespectful to that. This is good. I'm going to do good tomorrow. I'm going to get a treat like this tomorrow, right? Like, what the hell's going on with us, huh? Yes, sir.
They do that to kids in school.
I know that. Or you get gold stars.
Yellow or red.
You get stars, bro. You get whatever. You get little things to say you're doing a good job. Christ is like, listen, bro. You're supposed to do this. Stop looking for little blessings and little hookups because you did what you're supposed to do. But if that's for us, that's also for wives. We never go out. So your servitude is predicated on how much we go out?
How much fun you have?
That's not how much fun you have. I'm just using little blanket things people have issues
No
with.
fun, no service.
That's the trade-off. That is the trade-off a lot of times. And I'm not saying going out is bad. But if you're doing it for that, with this expectation, then you're going to be disappointed. You're supposed to do it for the right reasons. And then whatever comes after that is cake. That's the thinking of how a servant's supposed to be. Why am I saying this? This is how we have to operate.
To survive.
Let me sit back here and just be glad I'm working for God.
You know, it's funny.
That's it, bro. It ain't for views. It ain't for likes. Listen, I'll be starving if it was for likes. For likes online, we will be. I can't survive. There's enough likes. Enough likes in the class.
I'm done studying.
I'm done studying this. No more Josephus. I ain't getting no more thumbs up. I'm done with this. I'm not asking for it. Would you get my point? Yes! It worked!
We get a gold star.
Gold star. Somebody gave a thumbs up in the midst of saying this. Go out. Now I have more energy to teach now.
Yeah.
Now I'm motivated to teach with more vigor.
This is
you see the point?
This is why I need it.
Listen, all I'm saying is the Most High checks our reasons for doing everything anyway. We're supposed to do it because we are unprofitable servants, and we're doing what we're supposed to do. Husbands and wives. That's the least we can do to be in the game to possibly get to the kingdom. Yeah. That's the thinking, and that's how we all have to think as brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, if we want the Most High's acknowledgement.
That's right.
Okay, we finished verse 10, right?
Okay.
Let that go. And go to 25. Look at that, yeah.
Oh,
Ecclesiastes 25 and verse 20.
We got more likes than we have.
Thank you.
In probably weeks.
It's all good, man.
Now we asking for
the water, y'all. But I was just bringing out a point. It was just metaphorical. That's all it was. It was just a point. We were talking about motivations. So Ecclesiastes 25 and verse 20.
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and verse 20. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged.
Think about this. The reason why a wife learning when the proper time to communicate and the proper way to communicate to her husband is so important. He's explaining it in the scriptures. He says, as the climbing up of a sandy way is to the feet of the age. Can you imagine if you have arthritis and knee issues and joint pains and hip issues and you're trying to walk up a sand hill, bro? And how hard that is, and how exhausting and tiresome that is, Does it feel like you're in quicksand?
You're getting nowhere. You're
doing this.
nowhere.
You gotta really lift that knee up and extend out, and you're sinking out. And every time you didn't lift the knee and extend, your hips are on fire. It's hot outside.
That's agony.
The sand is hot as hell. You're not getting nowhere. Your feet are on fire.
The wind's not cooling.
And your ankle is like, it's like your foot is like this deep in the sand. I get getting nowhere. Like, this is a hell of a, it's a work out getting your foot up and getting back down.
Yep.
Yeah.
He says that process is mentally and physically exhausting to a person who has joint and body issues. There's no way to really beat it. You got to sprint up there.
Yeah.
You got to hightail it up there.
Yeah.
To beat that sandy
You don't
path.
have it like that.
But you ain't got it like that. So you got to slow boogie it. Which means you're going to be there for a while.
Slow motion pace.
And the idea, like, this is going to be for effing 10 minutes out. This pain out. 10, 15 minutes of pain. That exhausting, frustrating feeling that comes from the reality that this is never going to end.
Yeah.
That explanation.
There's no escape.
There's no end.
Yeah.
You took too many steps forward now.
Yeah.
Going back, you're wasting your time. That excruciating reality of that older man's existence is compared to what?
It says, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
It's never going to end.
Yeah.
This conversation is never going to end, and it's already 2 a.m. And I got to get up at 4. What the hell? I got to get out of here and escape to the school. At least I'll get 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So I can get to go to work and not deal with the dragon at the house.
I'm out of this.
I don't want any part of this. This is the issue.
If you respond, the stress prolongs.
If you respond and you react and you get angry,
Yeah.
then the arguing amps up,
Yeah.
and then you're cornered. You want to get out, then she don't let you out of the room or out of the house. Then do I sit back and get violent? Then the boys might be on me in a little bit.
Yeah.
What do? I'm in a pickle,
Dilemma.
and I'm in a pickle, and there's no way out. And I'm stressed, and then the stress gets higher and higher and higher until somebody makes a mistake.
Okay.
He's just explaining for sisters to understand why it's so important to choose your words wisely and wait for the appropriate time, because this is the level of duress you put your husband under. But then you want him to just take it, not get violent, not curse you out, not respond negatively, but you're putting him in a condition that is making him make an extreme decision behind this.
And say the wrong thing.
But that's my point. But you're
you
cornering him.
You said this to me.
You're cornering
Open the
him
door.
to make an even more irrational statement.
Yeah.
And once again, this is why the idea of this man having to walk this sandy hill, it's never going to end. This argument is never going to end. How long do we got to argue? Until sun up? Till 6? What is it going to take? Then the extremes kick in. Then the ultra aggression or the yelling and the cussing and the inappropriate communication kicks in. But it was sparked by something you did. Because you're putting somebody in a position that you're not supposed to be putting your husband in the first place. It's the over talking. And once again, based upon the husband you got, you know when you're pushing it too much. You know when you're pushing it because you just want him to suffer like you're suffering. That's what it is also. You want him to be angry like you're angry.
Yeah.
That's malicious. But then when he reacts in his malicious form, then he's a bad person. Okay, let that go.
He's a Tyler Perry character.
Oh man, I can't even watch any of those shows.
I can't watch him either. I've never watched him.
Can't watch it. But yeah, he's always a
Now
bad guy.
you're the main character of a Tyler Perry movie. Yeah.
He's a bad black guy.
Yeah.
Bad guy. What do Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha? 26, verse 5 through 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 5. There be 3 things that mine heart feareth.
So he says, there's 3 things that I'm afraid to see happen amongst people.
Yeah.
Read on.
And for the fourth, our sword of praise.
And he says, the fourth issue is even a worse, more calamitous situation than the first three. Read on.
God. The slander of a city.
So the idea that a city gets a bad reputation is a fearful thing to have. You don't want to have a bad reputation amongst yourself, amongst the city. You don't want that. Read on.
God.
Like Bethlehem had a bad reputation. That's what I said. Can anything good come out of Bethlehem?
Nazareth, yeah.
Oh, it's Nazareth.
Yeah.
Can anything good come out of Nazareth? You don't want that. You don't want that reputation.
Oh,
What was going on in
Nazareth,
Nazareth?
bro.
To where they was like, man, nothing good could come out of it. What the hell is going on? Right? There's B's and C's in Nazareth. Like, what's happening? Right?
Wait, it's like Baltimore. So.
The Wire Baltimore. Right?
Yeah.
Not the nice Baltimore. Right? The Wire Baltimore. Right? Anyway.
Buffalo.
Buffalo ain't bad. Right? Buffalo ain't. Oh, you mean that Buffalo? Okay,
That Buffalo,
okay. I don't think it's big. I don't think it's as well known as the Wire. Baltimore. Okay, read on.
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 5. There be three things that mine heart feareth, and for the fourth, our sore afraid. The slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude.
So you got an unruly multitude together. There's going to be violence. There's going to be looting. There's going to be killing. There's going to be negative happening. Read on.
And a false accusation. All these are worse than death.
No doubt about it. A bad name of the city, an unruly multitude, and a false accusation is some of the worst things a person can experience. What he's saying, these are some of the worst things that can happen to a person in their life. Your home city has a bad rep. There's an unruly multitude right in front of your house. And you get slandered and are accused of something that you didn't do. These are horrible things that can happen to an individual. But he says the fourth is even worse than those three. The fourth is worse than those three. Read on.
Verse 6. But a grief of hurt and sorrow.
He says what's worse than those three things is what?
Grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman.
You can't get no comfort, bro. When you're dealing with jealousy of a woman,
Bro,
it's nothing but wars, right? And constant arguments.
Yeah.
Dealing with jealousy. Read on.
It says, but a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman, and a scourge of the tongue.
And a scourge of the tongue. Read on.
Which communicated with all.
Look up scourge and look up number 2 in scourge. So one of the worst things a person can experience is a scourge of the tongue.
Scourge. 1828.
Number 2.
Point number 2. A punishment. Vindictive affliction.
So a vindictive tongue. A tongue that sits back here and just finds a way to tear you apart.
There's a song about that, bro.
And a person that knows, the scary thing about a person that knows how to build you up, they can know how to tear you down very well. That's one of the worst things you can have, is a wife that knows how to sit back here and tear your confidence down and make you feel less about who you are than you're supposed to be. He says that's something you don't want no part of.
An emasculating conversation.
And I can get this chip at who you are as a man. Yeah. I can just make you feel you ain't good enough.
This white boy made a song called, he said, nothing hurts like your mouth. You heard that song?
I've never heard of that song.
Queen of the Damn Dot. Aaliyah made this movie called Queen of the Damn Dot. And they had the soundtrack. This white boy was just going crazy. He's like, nothing hurts like your mouth. Like your mouth. I'm like, Esau guy, he's suffering too.
Yeah,
he got the same problem the black man got.
Oh my God.
He's in the curses too.
He's in the curses too. The white man.
Well, this curse, whatever curse this is, he got the curse going on.
The scourge of the tongue.
Well, Moab got the same curse. The Chinese man got the same problem in his house. She like she's all so gentle and public guy.
But the problem is she looks like she's quiet.
I love my husband.
With the small feet.
I have small feet. I serve my man. Well, they complain about them. It's like, nothing They complain, bro.
They complain.
They complain. It's bad, bro.
Yeah.
It's bad, Slacker. It's bad.
Yeah, it is.
This is suffering. This is universal suffering.
It's universal suffering, and this is something that young women need to be taught how to do.
Yeah.
Young women need to be taught how to talk to their husband.
Yeah.
Because that's something that isn't taught to them. There's more times than not, their mothers don't have husbands either. So it's a constant scenario. One of the keys to keeping a husband is to learn how to talk to a husband and make that husband feel important. If you don't know how to make your husband feel important and feel like he's the king of the world, you're done. He's going to look for somebody that's going to make him feel good about you, about being with you. It is so important. It's two things. It's important. It's absolutely important not to tear him down with your words. But it's even more important to know what to say to make him feel better about what he's doing. That's important. And I know people will say, well, husband got to do the same thing too. Come on. Yes, they do. But this is about women today. And people have to learn how to talk to their spouse the right way if they want to get kindness back. This is what it is. What verse was that?
That was verse 6, right?
Okay. Continue.
Verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro.
But who is this evil wife? Why is she evil? Because of how she's talking to him. That makes her evil. How she's talking to him.
The speech.
How she makes him feel. Or either the things she says or doesn't say. That doesn't give this man anything to feel good about. That is an aspect of marriage too. To learn how to sit back here and encourage your husband. To make him feel that he is loved. That's what a servant's supposed to. Listen, think about this. We're the Most High's woman, right?
No.
What does the Most High constantly or talk to us about doing? What do we got to do to the Most High to show the Most High we love him? Yes, what else? That's true. What else? What does the Most High love to hear? What does the Most High call? He calls it incense. Sweet incense.
Sweet incense.
So what's the prayers contingent on? Praise. Aren't the prayers based upon praise? Praising his name? Thanking him for all the good works he's done? All the blessings he's done in your life? Isn't that a major aspect of building a strong relationship with the Most High? Is constantly praying to the Most High, but praying ain't about just give me. Oh, Shalom, Father. I know I'm like, can I get something else today? Is it about just can I get some more today? I want some more blessings. I'm praying for blessings. Today is another blessing. I got a vision board. I got blessings to ask for. Is it that, or is it about praising the Most High's name? When David was praying, what was David doing? He was praying and acknowledging him, or praying to get these killing ass enemies off of him. But for the most part, he was praising all the good he's done for him all the way, leading up to that point. So, why am I saying that? It's important in our relationship with the Most High to acknowledge how important he is to us, and how valuable he is to us, and how we haven't forgotten the good he's done for us. Don't you think that's the same thing that a husband wants to hear from a wife? I want to thank you for being there. I love you to death. I appreciate all the things you've done for me. Go out for looking out for me in this situation. Does that even happen at all? Or is it a list of complaints about what you don't do? Have you taken the time to think about what he has done that he didn't have to do for you? Is that ever considered? To be told that you're appreciated strengthens the bones. It strengthens the spirit. It makes you want to sit back and do more for your wife when a wife can just learn how to be appreciative for what the Lord has given her. And why is it so wrong to just say how much you appreciate your husband? And to just verbalize that. And to express that. Versus it always being complaints. complaints and you didn't do this enough, you don't give enough, you don't care enough, you don't care, you don't give out blankety, blankety, blank, 4-letter word. Is it always got to be that? There's a lot of times it is. But then you want love reciprocated back after you complain half the time in the marriage. But you want love. That's not how you get love. You get love when you learn how to appreciate what your husband can bring to the table in the first place. Do that. Be good at that. And if you can learn to be very good at being appreciative for what he does do good, then maybe the Most High will have him give you more. Because that's how men think. When you show a husband how much you appreciate him, now you are incentivizing him to do more for you. But that's not how women do. They complain and they bug the hell out of you until you give them what they want. And when men do it half-ass, they're mad you do it half-ass. Right or wrong? You're sitting back here. I want to talk. We got a council. Now. I want attention. Like, dude, can you just sit back here and just be appreciative with what's going on now and let me determine when I think I should sit back here and do more for you? Isn't the dynamic between the Most High and us identical to us and our women? It's the same thing. This is why Christ said stop repetitively praying, asking for the same thing. Didn't he say that?
Yeah.
He said pray one time for what you want and shut up and go back to work. He don't want to hear us begging him for the same things over and over and over again. So why do you think it's okay for you to bug us every damn day for the same thing? Right? I'm just trying to get sisters and brothers to understand the parallels and the dynamic. We have to wait until the Most High says, man, this person has been busting their tail, keeping their head down, with gladness and joyfulness of heart. I'm going to sit back here and do this for them. Because he deserves it. This is how a spiritual man who is operating in this realm in the right spirit is going to do the same thing for his wife. He's going to do the same thing. But you got to have the faith and the trust that it's going to work out that way. Okay. So, let's continue.
Right. Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro.
Because you can't get this person to do nothing. That evil wife is shaken to and fro because they just won't follow you. You can't get anything done moving forward. It's like a literal ball and chain that you're dragging to and fro because you're arguing and fighting every step of the way. Because it's a complaint. In every scenario, it's a complaint. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get pushed this direction. Why has it got to be this way? It's always a complaint. That's how you know you're evil. Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like we get taught that we think that's how relationships are supposed to work.
Yeah.
It was all in the media and the movie.
And then happy wife, happy life. And then it goes happy wife, happy life. That means you got to sit back here and be a manservant to make her happy. And as long as she's not arguing with you, you'll have a happy life. But that means you got to serve your whole life so that she'll be happy. And then she won't be happy even when you serve her.
No.
Nobody's happy when they get everything they want.
And you can't serve the Most High serving your wife. Because the problem is, to make your wife happy, you have to have the availability of time and the availability of mental space.
And then that's not enough.
And it's not enough.
How about that? It's like us. How many Jordans can brothers have when they say, I want no more Jordans?
You always want more.
I always want more Jordans.
There's always a new one coming.
Always want more cars, different colors. Oh, this is a different color, though.
Yeah.
These are regular Concords. They're different.
Yeah.
It's got baby blue. It's always something else you want.
Variation, yeah.
I don't know what I'm just saying. She's saying.
Yeah, it's got to match the outfit. You got to cut with the outfit.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. 11s, 12s, 15 and a half. I don't know, bro. What am I trying to? I'm just being stupid. All I'm trying to say, Ak, is
No Team Jordans though.
there's never. Yeah.
I learned the hall. I learned the
No
hall.
Team Jordans.
I learned that's not hot in the streets.
No 6 rings, Ak. No 6 rings, Ak.
They're not liking the teams. All right.
That's so hilarious.
The streets is hating that.
They're kind of like Jordans.
They cost the same.
That's the point. That's the foolishness of it. Right? Same
All right,
price.
got you. Anyway, the point is even with men, and I'm just trying to explain this. Even with men, you can get certain things, and it's not enough with us either.
Yeah.
The flesh is always what? The flesh always wants. The eyes are never satisfied. So if the eyes are never satisfied, it doesn't matter how much time you give your woman. This is what the Most High understands. Remember, we read something about Matthew Henry a long time ago where he says that this is what the Most High doesn't give us everything we want, because as soon as we get what we want, all of a sudden we want something else.
Want the next one.
And then when we get that, we want something else.
Yeah.
That's not how you neutralize the spirit of desire.
Yeah.
You neutralize that by starving it out and learning how to appreciate what the Most High gives us day to day. That's how you break that spirit in men and in women. So if we all learn to find happiness in carrying our what? Our stones and being brought low, then everything else that happens is cake. That's the key to life. Key to having a happy marriage, being a good brother in the truth, is to appreciate what the Most High has given you and to earn and respect the burdens the Most High has got you responsible for. Anyway, continue. Or you're going to be that evil wife being shaken to and fro. Read on.
God, Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that have hold of her is as though he held a scorpion.
Listen, can you really hold a scorpion without getting stung?
No.
So you can't hold them. You can't control the woman either. You can't control them. Yeah, I can only get so close to the scorpion. So if I get too damn close, I'm gonna get bit, and I'm gonna get venom, and I'm gonna die. So I gotta stay away from a certain distance. This is like having an evil woman. I can only do so much with her. Because if I get too close, it's gonna be I'm going to jail again. The cops are getting called. I try to tell her show her the scriptures. I'm fighting. I try to correct her. I can't do it. That's how you know you got an evil wife. It's somebody that can't get adjusted and taught. And it's like a scorpion. You can't get too close to it. You got to walk on eggshells. You're like this. We walk around here. He's over here. I'm going to go this way.
Yeah.
Let me go this way.
Scorpion over there.
Yeah. Watch out. And you get the point, right?
Caution.
You operate with caution, and you can't freely develop it. God. Let's keep going.
God. It says, a drunken woman and a gatter abroad causeth great anger.
And then it goes back to just different type of uncontrollable women that you got to be conscious of. Woman that's drunk all the time, you don't know where she's going to be at. She's going to be where the alcohol going to be. Yeah. And that's a problem. And a gatter abroad, a person that constantly wants freedom. Because that's another issue. As a wife has to learn that once she's married, all that free fun time and getting out and leaving here, she's got to be at the pace and this way that her husband rolls. And learn that way. If your husband's a homebody, then guess what? Marriage meant you're a homebody.
Yeah.
The problem is, you marry a homebody, but you want to sit back and dance. Let me see.
Dance.
Let it dance. Salsa.
I want to be seen.
I'm just moving up. Listen, bro. Anyway, listen, man. Listen, you got this. You got to deal with what you deal, bro. Deal what you got, and be happy with what you got. That's what it is. Well, let's continue.
God.
Dance.
Verse 8. A drunken woman and a gatter abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame.
And it wasn't. And this is what's important about having the right wife, to make sure she's not going to embarrass you and embarrass herself. She's a reflection of your whole family. You have to find a woman of discretion, or it's going to be that. This is still on the title of that fourth thing that's like the worst thing ever.
Right.
She's talking negative. She goes where she wants to go. You can't get her to. You can't corral how she operates. She's like this independent spirit. This is why Esau pushes women to be independent. It's to go completely opposite of how she's supposed to be. And that's why marriages are so messed up, because there's never any proper order instilled to how the roles of the family are supposed to be. But let's continue. What verse are we at?
We on verse 9 now.
And we're taking us. We've never gone into these scriptures in these classes, at least. We haven't gone into this. Maybe Shouts One has. I don't know, but we haven't gone into this. That's why I'm taking my time with this. We might go to a fourth one. But let's continue, huh?
Not really.
Yeah, we haven't taken our time to really go into the good in the woman and what to look for and what not to tolerate and accept in your wife. Read on.
The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
This is why it's not cool for women to always have a bunch of makeup on. Having a bunch of makeup on and having all that attention to their eyes.
Yeah.
You can sit back here, and the messed up thing is why is it at this time of history they're saying the whoredom woman is in her eyelids? Why are they saying it that way?
This is during the Egyptian time, because that was how they worshipped. Well, I'm not going to say what deity was, but they put that dark makeup under their eyes. It was how they acknowledged their goddess.
And a simpler answer.
Okay.
That's all they could show to get attention. That's what they had to show and to get attention from men. It's how they wore their makeup.
Okay.
How they sat back here and batted their eyes towards their men or to men around them was how they used to get attention from men. They couldn't wear the dum-dum pants or shorts. they couldn't wear yoga pants. What's going on in the streets back then? And we're wearing yoga pants. It wasn't invented, and they actually clothed their bodies. So the only thing they could show was their eyes, and they used their eyes for their seduction. Yeah. So what he's saying is the whoredom of a woman is anything she puts on and wears to get what? Attention. That's the answer. It ain't just in her eyelids and her makeup. That's part of it. It's what do you do to get attention? And then I don't know why these guys keep talking to me. I don't understand why they keep flirting with me.
What's the one you want?
Get these guys out of here. Well, you sit back, you put all kind of makeup on and clothes that are provocative, and you tripping on why they're looking at you, and they're looking at you like you're a piece of meat. Well, said, don't deal with those women, because all they want is attention. And one day, somebody's going to tell them what they want to hear, and they're going to run off with it. Yeah. That's what he's saying. But keep going. Read verse 9 again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Because listen, a wife has to sit back here and in every aspect of her conduct, showing her dress, in her communication, and how she carries herself, that she's taken. That's her job. It's just showing her dress and her communication that she's spoken for. And don't try it. I've always said back over the years, if a person keeps getting hit up by men, it's something in you that's attracting these men.
It's a spirit. Yeah.
It's something. Oh, I don't know why my boss keeps flirting with me. Maybe because you're throwing sexual innuendos back to this guy, or you're smiling at his lame jokes. or you're not sitting back here and backing him off when he advances to you. Yeah. That's because you want to hear it. You want to be chased, and that's whoredom. Yeah. Especially if you're married. Oh, this is my work husband. There you go. That's that wickedness right there. That's that damn wickedness.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. And it's a joke. It's a joke until it's not a joke. It's funny until it's not funny.
I was listening to the radio one day, and the guy asked, he said, what would you rather lose, your work husband or your actual husband? And she had to really think about it. So you know what? My work husband makes me laugh more. He talks to me more. I see him longer. So I might as well lose my real one because I don't see him as much as my work husband. I was like, this is
And what's so crazy is that nigga don't have to deal with the baggage that the guy at the house got to deal with. He don't got to deal with the problems. He don't got to deal with no problems.
Yeah.
Everything's light and fun.
It's all cool.
Yes, sir.
I've also heard that.
What you heard, man? What you heard?
Look, I also heard that when like as far as in a man being with a woman and her dressing provocative, and that he's not cool with it, that he's insecure about her looking.
Because that's because nobody reads the damn Bible.
Yeah.
You read the Bible, it'll be very simple. Now, even Peter says, sit back here and stop wearing costly array and jewelry that brings attention to you.
Yeah.
Why not wear jewelry? Because that brings attention to you. You don't wear clothes that bring attention to you. It's about modesty.
It's the same thing.
It's the same concept. But if you want attention, that means there's whore in you. Simple as that. That ain't broke out of you.
Yeah.
It's clear as day.
What do you think, Moselle? What's in your mind, man? Moselle's like, you right, man. That's 100% right, man. Right on, brother. Preach, brother.
Amen. Amen.
That's it, right?
That's Moselle, bro. He said, preach that? Anyway. It's funny, man. I'm with you. There you go. Let's continue, man. Verse 10. My brother.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straiten.
Listen, there is literally, I was reading in Follow one day, and they was talking about women. They said in a house, house like built like a square. You had the outer support portion of the house and the inward portion of the house. They said the virgin daughters had to stay inside the middle portion of the house.
Wow.
And the outer portion of the house was for everybody else.
There's a reason for that design.
The virgin, and that's my point. She wasn't gonna be no nigga sitting back here climbing up the fence, climbing the first story,
Jump out
get
the
to the
window.
second story, throwing little rocks, serenading, and jamming out music outside and trying to get with her. That wasn't happening back then. They stayed in the inside, in the middle of the structure, and the rest of the family was surrounding her. That's literally how they constructed homes back then.
It's amazing.
That's crazy. So they said, even with that, read that verse again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless.
Meaning, I want that attention. So listen, it's one thing to be married and want that attention. That's horrible. But if you're unmarried and want that attention, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
It's a bad sign if you're a young woman of marriageable age and you're looking for attention. I just want people to like me. I want boys to like me. That's you're dealing with whoredom.
Yeah.
That is whoredom.
It's pretty simple.
Well, I'm trying to explain it in ways where young girls can understand it. Listen, there's still a whore spirit to want a bunch of guys to be chasing you.
Listen, that's the spirit of a person that, okay.
What I don't want to hear is it's not self-esteem.
No.
Because a lot of people will sit back and say, well, my self-esteem is low, so I want boys. Like, listen, man, if that's what you're telling yourself, you're tripping. Boys sitting back here and liking it have nothing to do with your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Self-esteem, like Cat Williams says, come from what?
Self.
Yourself. That was one of the best things he ever said in the show. He didn't come from yourself. Why are you blaming me? Because you don't believe in yourself. I am butchering it. But the way he explained it, it was 1,000% true.
It was perfect.
You got to feel good about who you are and do what you got to do to feel complete in your role to serve the Heavenly Father.
I was saying the whoredom element is that this spirit's not going to be satisfied with this level of attention. So next suitor. Okay, this suitor gave me this type of attention. Next suitor, because I get this style of attention is different than this style of attention. So then it becomes this pursuit of how many different types of attention can I connect
And
to?
then the problem comes, if you're looking for multiple types of attention, you might be in a position where a bunch of people want to give you attention at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can be put in very precarious situations because you're looking for attention.
Yeah.
They can go really bad really quickly because you're looking for attention. There's a lot of bad stories where young girls want attention, and they're put in bad situations. and put in precarious situations because they just wanted attention. And they were flirting. And the flirting got taken the wrong way, and the person took a flirtation and took it way more serious than just innocent flirtation. There's a lot of beasts out here. Oh, you like me? Okay, cool. You smiling at me? That's go. That's 100% go time.
It's a green light.
That's green all the way. That's how people look at things, right or wrong.
God.
Listen, you got animals out here in these streets, right? You smile. You better be careful who you smile back to.
You look at the guy's direction. Some people be like, "Yeah, she wants me."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it don't matter how many times you say no, he gonna keep pressing up on you.
That's not what she means.
You see why all these men are yeah. He's telling the truth. Preach the truth.
I ain't saying it like that.
People are really saying that.
But I've seen it.
I'm telling you, this is how people think.
A lot of niggas with braids out here that be.
Why is everybody riding up in class right now? There goes the braids. Why do you have braids? I came from your quarter so.
I was crying. No, we did last week.
Anyway, listen, we're joking, but you see how men can easily identify with that response?
Yeah.
And how a lot of people say, yep, that's how it goes. But a sister might say, I'm just smiling, I'm just flirting. That's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. And when you get out of high school and get in the real world, it gets worse. Or you get out of high school grounds, it gets bad.
I'll tell you where it goes.
So this is why you better just cut that crap off and wait for all that fun and games and wait till the Most High sends you somebody right.
What they do, I'm just going to spill the beans now.
You gotta spill
What
the
they
beans
do,
out.
I got to say it. Some people know that they know, but they know. What they heard, what they were told. What they do is, under the guise of conversation, you drink a drink and you wake up somewhere else you don't know where you're at.
Oh yeah.
That's what really
Drinks
happens.
of spite.
Because you either get the beast that's going to come direct, or you get the serpent that comes indirect.
Most of the serpents, most of
And the
clever.
serpent's going to sit here and say, hey man, this is great. This is some great punch. You look up, you're in a different part of the city.
Never drink punch.
Yeah.
Never drink punch out of the punch bowl.
Jungle anything?
Never do that.
Jungle juice,
Never do
jungle
it.
drink? Nah.
First of all, there shouldn't be no drinking anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sitting back, throw fingers out there. But you definitely don't drink the punch. That's bad. You're out of there with that punch, huh? They putting all kind of mysterious clear liquors in there. Huh?
Yeah.
It's the truth, right? Rums, vodkas, all kind of stuff.
Eye drops.
That's that flip mix, huh? Eye drops, huh?
Yes.
What the hell is that? How is that? That's that flip special, huh?
What happens
Not people out with that.
when they put that in your drink, it makes you. It basically messes up your brain, bro.
I've never. I ain't been to them parties.
What's that?
Michigan mystery.
Whoa, that's
So
crazy.
it messes with your hearing?
It makes you incoherent.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what happens to you.
Michigan.
Damn, that's even worse. That's
It's a bad
horrible.
day.
That must be in the South too.
It must be.
It's common.
I never heard of that. They had that stone oak.
That's real, bro.
That's crazy.
There's
They were
serpents
doing
out there.
that.
There's serpents out there. So
Man.
the desire for attention can be
Can lead you in a
dangerous.
bad
So
spot.
they say, I expect this to happen.
I
Well,
know.
of course, that's the point.
I know.
The point is you didn't expect it. You play with the snake, and then you got bit.
Then that's what says that. That's what the Most High said in Ecclesiastes 21. It says,
You gonna pay a snake charm?
well, it says, flee from sin as the face of a serpent.
Yeah.
For if thou comest too near it, it will bite thee. And it's the truth. Now you get too close to sin, you're gonna get bit and consumed in ways you weren't planning on getting bit. That's the truth. So let's get back. Ecclesiastes 26,
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 26,
verse 10. Mm-hmm.
If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitness.
This is why a lot of times fathers don't let their kids go out too far and go out too many places. For this reason. Either they're shameless or they're ignorant and they don't know how to carry themselves in environments that are dangerous. And when you're young, you don't want to have to deal with trauma from making mistakes like this. And this is why fathers are overboard with their daughters, overboard on where they go, And if they do go, they're really strict on times to come back. They're really strict on the type of influences that they're with. Because the problem is you might be okay, but your friend's shameless. How many shameless friends do you have?
Yeah.
That'll sit back here and put you in a jacked up spot you didn't want to be in. And then you get caught, I'm trying to look after my girl. Shit, and you both in danger then.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave my girl hanging. Well, that means you're going to both be in a trick bag with some crazy ass thugs, hemmed up. You don't want that either.
Some drewskis out.
This is why you don't want to sit back here and be around, and have shameless friends in the first time. Oh, we're cool. Well, that don't mean nothing if she makes bad choices. So, the shameless daughter that wants attention, that wants to walk on the wild side, wants to have fun, wants to do extreme things, what do?
Says keep her in straightly.
Keep her in straightly. Don't let her do the things she wants to do. Tell her no way more than you tell her yes. Read on.
Lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty.
She's going to abuse herself through overmuch liberty. She's going to sit back here and have a bunch of bad experience or be a loose girl before she leaves your home. And you don't want that either. The whole thing is to sit back here and keep her chastity as much as you can before she leaves your home. That's the goal. Read on. So this is why parents are so strict on their children. To save them. Read on.
Verse 11. Watch over an impudent eye.
That means watch over a shamelessly bold eye. Bold in that daughter's tongue, her communication. Bold in your wife's tongue and her communication. The truth is this. If your wife is going to be bold and shamelessly bold to you, that means she don't respect you.
Yeah.
If she don't respect you, that means she can sit back and step out on you today.
Yeah.
What's the difference between her disrespecting you with her mouth and disrespecting you by her giving her body to somebody else? What's the difference? Disrespect is disrespect.
Okay.
And you got to take it that way. If she's going to disrespect you in your face with the things she says to you, it's only a matter of time before she leaves. Is that a guarantee? No. But you got to be conscious of what it is. Watch over an impudent eye. A person that can't be told nothing, that got something back talk all the damn time, that means she wants out of this situation. And if she wants out, then it's just air and opportunity for most people.
Yeah.
A lot of people just stay until they can find a better situation.
That's as simple as that.
Right or wrong. I'm just being honest. And how do you know this person's looking? Because you're not getting respected at home. If you're not getting respected at home, she's just waiting for somebody to say, hey.
They're just shopping.
What's that?
They're just shopping.
Come on. They're just shopping and they're waiting for a better bid. It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Or a lateral grade. Whatever the hell it is. Yes, sis?
So now that a lot of us have daughters that are recording, is there a way to navigate it, allow it, because I know the times have changed, and a lot of times I find myself personally like kind of caught in the middle between the parents and what the child like is trying to do, you know, and I'm that middle person. So is there even a way to navigate that space, you know, spiritually, but allow them that freedom, a little bit of freedom to be able to experience the world, but not fully, you know what I'm saying, experience the world?
Well, one is inexact science to get a person to experience anything. Two, you got to ride what your husband wants. And the truth is, it's on him how it turns out. You really can't play it any other way. Because if you try to sit back here and subvert it and try to allow a person to experience something he doesn't want her to experience, he's going to backfire on you. Most likely, it's not going to honor it. All you can do is respectfully talk to him and give him an opportunity to see it from your perspective and let him make the decision. That's all you can really do. Because if you do anything else, then now all of a sudden the curse is coming your direction. And you don't want that. You don't need that. And then as far as the daughter, I've seen fathers be like super strict and it doesn't work. I've seen fathers be more lenient and it doesn't always work. Doesn't always work regardless. Listen, for all those who think no is always the answer, good luck. For everybody who thinks yes is always the answer, good luck. There is no Israelite paperwork that explains what's the exact way per kid to see how they roll and operate as older children. I've seen it go different ways. I've seen certain people be under a more strict home and they conform to it. I've seen people rebel from that strict home, like they're escaping the Big Love facility. Yeah. And they got out of the Israelite home that they're getting out of the LDS in Utah. I don't know if you ever saw that show. And I've seen people have a little more lax approach to their kids and they end up being fine. And then some get lax, a little less stringent way of dealing with them and they go left. So what's the right answer?
He always talked about in the past, those situations, scenarios, about the communication bond between the parents.
Well, that's the number one thing is having a relationship with them.
Because you can't, they're not going to tell you what you need to hear or give you the details because that communication is not built up. It's like that with brothers.
Yeah.
If the brother's scared to talk to you, you can't give him the real guidance he needs. So if they're telling you one thing, but they're afraid to communicate, you can't give them the precise counsel because counsel is based off of basically transparency and communication.
God, so it's communication. It's what kind of relationship do you have with them? Yeah. That's number one. Yeah. Because if you have a great relationship with your kid,
you got a better shot.
You have a better shot of the kid enduring their little rebellious time. Because I'm gonna say this: kids are gonna be feeling themselves at some age. They're gonna feel themselves, and it's gonna be hard to talk to. And you just hope and pray that when they think they're doing something, they'll come back to you and talk to you sooner than later. That's all you can really pray for. And pray that you put enough time in and put enough time in one-on-one relationship with them that will endure any rockiness that comes from them not getting their way. I can say, listen, I know this much. Being a hard ass and having no relationship, you can forget it. Being a hard ass with no relationship is very hard for those to work. Mm-hmm. But you can't just be a yes dad every 5 minutes either. Can't do that. You got to find a balance, but the balance is in the relationship. That's all I can say. Because everybody does it different. And I haven't seen a template that is perfect. I have not seen a house where every kid loves God. Trying to show the Most High 110%. I ain't found that either. Maybe I missed it, but I ain't seen like 7, 8 kids and they all are locked into the camp. I haven't seen that, bro. I've seen dudes doing what they want to do quite often. Yeah. And the hope is that if the relationship is sustained over the years, maybe they'll adjust a little bit more to the right side, sway more to the right than the left, versus sitting back here and having no tether, having nothing to anchor them. That makes sense? Yeah. But if they see the house is fragmented, why come back to that? That's another thing. If the house is fragmented and there's no unity between a husband and wife, then I'm definitely not coming around. Yeah.
And I'll just say it's from my humble experience as an Israelite kid growing up in the truth. That was always the conversation amongst the kids. And unfortunately, a lot of the kids left because they didn't see good examples in the house. It was always a conversation of whether it been the ladies or the men. They don't love what they're doing. Or I don't want a wife like that. Or I don't want a husband like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to be fighting like that because of the money or because the husband's working all day or because the wife, doesn't get enough time.
They see
a constant
disharmony
thing.
in the house, and then they make their decision about if they want to live this life based off of
Their friends.
dysfunction in the home.
Well,
That is an aspect of it.
what I was gonna say is you get those experiences. You come to the truth, and the relationships you build in the truth, at least for the kids' point of view, is there's unhappiness there. So then you go back to your friends at school, and those become your counselors, and those relationships and their parents' relationships become the idea of how you want to grow up and how you want to live. And that's the scariest part in my generation at the time, was trying to fight the temptation of living after the life that seemed to work in the world versus the life that was dysfunctional in the truth at the time.
And that's why I say one of the keys, if there is stability in the household, there's more hope that it can work.
Yeah.
If the house is unstable, why the hell would I sit back here and want to sit back here and give this two life thing a shot?
Yeah.
If there's instability in a home, why would I want to sit back here and do it this way? That is a big part of it. It is.
Yeah.
That and just the overall unity between the husband and the wife. If there is unity and solidarity in the home, then the child's going to say this can work. Marriage can work. An Israelite marriage can work. But if there's chaos and arguing and fighting in the house, the kid's going to be like, maybe this isn't meant to be. Maybe this isn't the Most High's will. Then things go left. Then they sit back here and look for different options of what it's going to take to find happiness in a marriage or in a house or in a family.
Okay.
That's when things get worse.
Because those competitions are had before the rebellious age, the 13, 14, high school age, where you really start becoming your own man or woman at the time. You're having those thoughts, and you're counting the cost, so to speak, when you're 10, 11, 12. At least. And
the crazy thing is your mind is underdeveloped.
Yeah.
So a lot of times your decision making is based upon emotion.
Exactly.
So if mommy and daddy are yelling all the damn time, why would I want to do this? If there's tension between moms and stepmoms and uncles and brothers, then why don't I want to do this?
Yeah.
This is going on in a young person's mind when they're very impressionable. This is why it's so important to work on the marriage as soon as you can. Because they have to see strength, solidarity, and unity as one. Anyway. Let's continue in verse 11.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 11. Watch over an impudent eye.
And I'm going to explain why that disrespectful, bold person, whether it's son, daughter, wife, if she's disrespectful right in your face, read the next line.
It says, and marvel not if she trespass against thee.
There you go. If she's bold enough to cuss you out in your face and disrespect you in your face, you don't think she's going to disrespect you behind your back? What's the difference? So these are little indicators to let you know if she don't respect you and can't communicate to you and can't respect you as a man, then why would you think when she's out in public she's not going to disrespect you? Marvel not if she trespasses against you, that woman that can't respect you eye to eye, that's shamelessly bold and just doesn't respect you as a man and a teacher. These are your indicators, and the scriptures is all here to let you know what to look for, how to think, how to operate as a man, and dealing with the person that's not really about this life. Okay? Now let's go to dealing with, let's go to verse 12. Yes, sir.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 12. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain.
Listen, that person who's thirsty is going to take all the attention she can get, all the focus she can get. That person that's not respecting you, that has that impudent eye, is going to look for whatever attention she can get as a thirsty damn traveler. Read on.
and drink of every water near her.
That's not you. Read on.
By every hedge she will sit down and open her quiver against every arrow.
Now he's letting you know what that is. So it's not, listen, it's not just, Kevin Samuel had to tell these women how it is in the 2000s.
No.
This has been going on since the beginning of time. Disrespect. Women that don't have respect for their husbands. It's just now in society, women are more empowered because it's how society is set up. So the more women are empowered, the less they feel the need to stay humble to a husband because they have too many options, too much power. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. So it was a harder situation for a woman to be this disrespectful, which means knowing that this society is so messed up and women have as much power as they have, it takes that much more humility to stay in order with the Heavenly Father and to choose submission and servitude over your individuality. But it's the same thing for us. It's harder for us to sit back here and submit our life to the Most High when we can do all the little hustles in the world to be selfish and live our own little lives. It's easy to do that. It's hard to sit back here and commit to the body and lose for the body. But I can do a bunch of things and tread water and live comfortable. That's the challenge. That's what the world provides. You want to live comfortable and at ease? Or you want to sit back here and be stressed out and live for the body and be uncomfortable? We have to face that, so do women. So what I want to do is, that's later. That's later on in the class. Okay. Let's go real quick to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians 7. Okay. Verse 29. Through 33.
That's page 805, Black Book.
1 Corinthians.
Yep.
Come, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and
I don't know
verse
if I should go
29.
through this, man. Go back to Proverbs 31, man. Maybe I should stop it here, bro.
1 Corinthians 7?
Yeah, because I haven't even gotten to Proverbs. That's my point. It's a whole other class.
Yeah.
I think I might stop it there.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just keep going for now. We'll see.
Come, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth, that both they that have wives be as though they had none.
So listen, this is a message for men. Because there's not a lot of time, and our time has to be focused on bringing back the men, because the scripture says the flock of the pasture are the men, right? That's Ezekiel 34 and 31, and another verse. I can't think of it. No, 8-4 Proverbs. How the Most High called the men, and the flock of the pasture are men. Because of that, our focus has to be on reestablishing the nation and reestablishing the men. And because that's what our job is supposed to be, we have to operate, even if we have wives, as if we don't have wives. What does that mean? This is all about priorities. And as men in this truth, we have to operate like our number one focus is the men in the body, and the women are going to get the last of the attention. And this goes back as to why wives have to study, and they got to read, and they got to wait until their time comes to where their husbands can deal with the problems. They have to learn how to wait, how to communicate. From a sister's perspective, you got to stay in the book so you can make the best of the little time you got. Have you ever noticed you don't have a lot of time with your husband, but most of the time it's arguing?
Yep.
Then you're wasting your damn time.
Well, the time that is available.
It's through fighting and arguments and contention.
The problem is the last memory of the relationship is just those times. The arguments is the only memory.
God. And then it gets harder to come back and try to make things right again, because all you got in the back of your mind is the last argument.
That's it. That kills the marriage down the line.
But you're forgetting that a husband is going to have to make his priority as if he's not married in the first place. We have to operate as if we're not married, because our mind and our time is here amongst the body. Ain't like we're sitting back here at the bar, just getting drunk and crazy and partying and saying 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. We're not doing that craziness. We're sitting back here committing ourselves to the body. So the sisters are going to get the last of the time. But while we're out doing our job for the Most High, if sisters study, if they stay committed to the book, they will be in the right spirit so that the time that they have with their husband is impactful, is important, it's productive. This is why it's up to sisters to counsel with sisters in the truth and study these scriptures so the time that is spent is actually productive. Does that make sense?
And honestly, this is how majority of societies go anyway. When it comes to survival, village setting, you got people out there going to hunt. Women are back in the village.
Hunter-gatherer break?
I'm going there, bro, because when people live a very simple life, they're crushing cornmeal all day. They're crushing yam and cassava. They're crushing the starch.
Making the flour that the tortillas.
They're making flour all day. They're singing songs with the babies out. And then the sun comes down.
This is like the 1500s. You mean like?
I'm talking about just go. Let's go right now. Right, it's happening right now. Just in certain remote parts of the world.
That happens
We're just dealing with urban life.
Yeah.
But if you deal with life just past the urban culture, because we had that class about when everything collapses, it's going back to the dark ages. I'm just saying.
That's true.
Listen, it's going back. There's no future. How about that?
Oh, come on. Before the die.
I'm not going there. But I'm saying. I'm trying to say is.
This guy's got a storm cloud over his head.
I'm saying
Linus the Prophet Act.
Listen, I'm saying this modern culture can only go so far. And it's going to have to go back to family values and traditional beliefs. Traditional values is what I'm trying to say. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
I'm not trying to.
no hope.
I'm not trying to say.
Forget about it. It's over.
Listen, life is going. People are making concerted effort.
Yes.
To go back to traditional life. Even in this society now, they're trying to get land. They're trying to go out there, try to live in community settings again. People trying to have family again. People trying to go to church again. People are trying to go back to traditional core beliefs. And the Bible just never lets us deviate from that from the beginning.
Yep.
That's the whole point.
Okay. So let's read this verse again.
1 Corinthians 7:29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short and remaineth, that both they that have wives be as though they had none.
If you have wives, be as though you had none. So what it's saying is, he's not saying not to love your wives. But even through the rest of these verses, from 30 to 33, you're going to see the same thing. Love what you have, but not be so attached to what you have that the work of the Most High is put in the back burner. So this is what he's saying about have a wife, love your wife, but make sure you got to have it in proper perspective. And if you can, it's not easy. It's easier than done, but you got to be married, but not married. Married, love the person that the Most High sent you, but have your heart tethered to pleasing the Heavenly Father and doing the task the Most High has us do. Read on.
Verse 30. And they that weep, as though they weep not.
And even for sisters. Yes, you're going to weep and feel sad that your idea of marriage might not be what it is in the truth. But you got to be able to sit back here and have a little sadness because your husband's not there. But then also weep not because you understand why he's doing it and you understand what your calling was too. Because your calling was to support a godly man. So if your calling was to support a godly man, then that means you have to accept that he's not going to be there at the house all the time the way you want it. That's part of the calling. So yeah, you're sad, but you can't be given to your sadness. But how do you learn how to be sad but not given to your sadness? It's through what? It's through studying. And it's through reading, and it's through the acceptance of what you're reading and acceptance of the lifestyle that you've chosen to live. So he's letting us know to not ignore the feelings that are there, but to not let those feelings dominate you. How many times have you felt lonely, but then you react a different way because you're lonely? Now you treat your husband like crap because you feel lonely and you feel angry. You have to be able to acknowledge that there is loneliness there because of the choices you made and your husband made. But can you acknowledge that, but still keep in perspective the bigger picture? That's how you learn to weep, and they weep as though they wept not. You accept the condition. Read on.
And they that rejoice as though they rejoice not.
Even the whole idea of not getting too high or too low, and what the Most High's got you going through. Because if you get too high, that means you're going to be expecting these highs all throughout the marriage. You can't operate like that either. You got to be in the middle. You appreciate the time where you rejoice, but you're not always looking for the next rejoicing moment. Does that make sense? You have to be able to, when it's good times, enjoy the good times, but not be so caught up. You're looking for the next good time.
That's men too. You have to love the day.
I know.
You have to love the day today. Or you're not going to last in general because, you have to make the most of the small moments in life. Bro. Or you're wasting your life for 6 months of cumulative fun.
Done.
Make every moment valuable and worth it and precious as much as possible.
That's why in Philippians 4 it says, I know how to be abound and abased. And when I'm up, I'm not so caught up in the fact that I'm up that I can't operate when I'm brought down. Or when I'm brought down and when I'm abased, I'm not so down with the fact that I'm down at this time that I can't function because I'm at a low point right now. What Paul is explaining in both chapters is to enjoy the time when it's rejoicing time. When it's time to weep, though, don't get so caught up in the weeping that you stay down. You understand that everything is cyclical. Your ups are down. Your ups are only for a period of time. Your downs are only for a period of time. Read on.
And they that buy as though they possessed not.
So what does that mean? I'm buying and selling, but I'm not about what I'm buying and selling. What he's showing you is this is how you have to learn to not be a part of the world. Because when a person is really about the world, they are about what they bought. They are into what they bought. They are into their ups. They're down when they're down. When they're sad, they're completely dejected. When they're up, they are elated. When they got tangible things, you can't tell them nothing.
And
what he's saying is, you can't be too caught up into your blessings, into the things you got. You can't get too caught up into your marriage. You can't get too caught up into your tangible items. You can't get too caught up when things are going good. You can't get too low when things aren't going good.
And the premise of this is a widely known phrase is that attachment is the mother of suffering.
Done.
And in a foreign country said, different cultures said, but for man it's universally true. Attachment is the beginning of suffering because you're trying to control something. It goes from attachment to the idea of control, and the Most High does not allow us to control anything.
So you're in the world, but you are not what?
Of the world.
This is what being in the world, but not of the world looks like in real time. I have a car, I have substance, but whether I got it or not, I'm not swayed. I have a wife, I love her. If she's happy, cool. If she's not, I can't control that right now. My ups and downs aren't predicated on if my wife is happy right now, or if I'm feeling good right now, or if I'm feeling down right now. Because if you're feeling down, it doesn't change the fact that you got to do your job for the Most High.
Yeah.
If I'm up, I got to do my job for the Most High. If my wife is angry at me, I got to do my job for the Most High. If she's happy with me, I got to do my job for the Most High. So I can't call in when she's super happy so I can spend more time with her. And I can't sit back here and just run away from my responsibility when she's vexed at me. I got to do my job rain, sleet, hail, snow. Whether, listen, I'm riding the bus, I'm getting rides from brothers, or I'm driving a dope whip. Can't change how I roll for the Most High. The problem is the tangible things around us determine our existence too much.
It's a big problem, man.
And this is what he's explaining. Continue.
Verse
31.
And they that use this world as not abusing it.
Read that part again.
And they that use this world as not abusing it.
Mm-hmm. So listen, you got to use the world, be a part of the world, but you can't be caught up into the world and abusing it. Read on.
For the fashion of this world passeth away.
It's going to be here today, and it's going to be gone tomorrow. So this is what you can't invest your life into. You have to be more consumed with your spiritual development and your internal growth as men and as women. Read on.
God, verse 32. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord.
And this is why the Most High is saying, if you're married, act like you're not. Because he's trying to say, if you're married, you still got to be meditating on what pleases the Heavenly Father. Even though there's a person that loves you and you love them. This is how he keeps us tethered to the Heavenly Father. So this is even something for sisters to understand why your husband might be there and he might be physically there, but sometimes he's not mentally there. This is the reason. He's got to be there for his house, but mentally be at the job he was called to do. But continue.
God, verse 33. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife.
And that's the point. And you're supposed to sit back here and please your wife, but in the job that we got to please the Most High first before we please our wife. Continue.
There is a difference. There is difference also between a wife and a virgin.
Yeah, I know.
The unmarried woman careth for the things of the Lord.
Yep.
That she may be holy both in body and in spirit.
At least that's what she's supposed to be. The unmarried woman is supposed to be focused on pleasing the Heavenly Father and not the attention she gets. Read on.
But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband.
Read on.
And this I speak of your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that you may attend upon the Lord without distraction.
So what is he still trying to say? You got to do your job from a sister's perspective, serve your husband, but you got to still make sure you're focused on pleasing the Heavenly Father at the same time. You can't let your marriage be a distraction towards your service of the Most High, and the men that serve the Most High can't allow their marriage to be a distraction towards them serving the Heavenly Father also. And if both parties can still make focus that this marriage is a marriage, but it's a spiritual union, if we can remember that it's a spiritual union, the priority for both parties is to please the Heavenly Father. And if that is the priority, then the marriage part is going to be a lot easier. I would go further, but it's getting late, and I haven't even got a chance to get into Proverbs 31 yet, so I might do that next week. Are there any questions? Water for tuning in, Israel. Once again, there's a little square on the top hand corner of the screen. You know, it's got a little dollar sign there. So if there's any contribution y'all want to throw in there, we greatly appreciate it. We are building a school, so you know we're building a school, and all the little resources we can is appreciated to contribute for the school. Once again, Thawada for tuning in. See you guys on Wednesday. Oh, no. We're not going to have class on Wednesday because we have Purim on Wednesday. Got caught. I almost forgot. Purim on Wednesday, so we'll have class back on Friday. Thawada for tuning in, y'all. See y'all on Friday. Shalom.